Russia's war machine continues to keep the pressure on Ukraine. Russian troops are striking harder than they have in weeks, punishing Ukrainian cities and igniting new concerns about how much more the country can actually endure. Overnight in Zaporizhzhia, the sky lit up with missile trails and the roar of incoming drones. By morning, emergency crews found entire blocks blasted open. Firefighters wrestled with walls of flames surging from the shattered buildings. At least 18 people were injured, though the authorities warn the actual number could climb as they sift through the wreckage. They say that the residential district was hit 11 times. Apartment towers, gas stations, small businesses, homes all torn open in the dark. 31 multi-story buildings took damage, along with 20 private houses, making it one of the worst barrages the city has absorbed in months. In fact, that's not even all. A massive Russian drone and missile assault targeted the Naftogaz gas facility. This is in central Ukraine. Scattered remnants of the Shahed drones littered the reservoir designated for storing tanks of liquefied propane gas. In fact, nearly a month after the October 30th attack, several tanks were empty and in ruins. Russia has targeted Ukrainian gas extraction this year in a bid to hurt morale and also force Ukraine to import large quantities of expensive gas, which it can ill afford. Without the attacks, Ukraine would be able to cover the overwhelming majority of its consumption using its domestic extraction. Two devastating attacks on Ukraine's gas extraction facilities in March and October, meaning that the country must import an additional 4.4 billion cubic meters this winter. 4.4 billion cubic meters. And the thing is, behind the scenes, Ukrainian officials are saying this energy crisis has become a major factor in the peace talks. As per the officials speaking anonymously to news agencies, the Trump administration is pushing hard for a deal, and the current leverage that Russia holds in the war is shaping just about every conversation. Remember, these attacks coming at a moment when the United States is pushing forward on a peace proposal that has raised alarm across Ukraine. With the war grinding towards its fourth year, Washington insists this is the closest the sides have come to talk since the war started. But many in Kyiv fear the deal could force Ukraine into concessions it cannot safely make. Meanwhile, in Moscow, the Kremlin confirmed that Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, will travel to Russia next week, accompanied by multiple senior U.S. officials. They are expected to discuss the U.S. peace framework, the plan that was leaked last week, and immediately raised fears that Washington might try and pressure Kyiv into accepting terms heavily tilted towards Moscow. And Trump is telling reporters the talks are making progress and also claims that Moscow has already agreed to concessions, though he has not named them. He has backed off on his earlier Thanksgiving deadline, remember, but also maintains he wants a deal soon. And he suggested Russia has the upper hand on the battlefield, and that some Ukrainian territory might be gotten by Russia anyway, quote unquote. Listen in to the exact words.
This war could go on for years, and Russia's got a lot more people, a lot more soldiers, you know. So I think if Ukraine can make a deal, it's a good thing. I think it's great for both. Frankly, I think it's great for both. But Ukraine's got a, you know, it's much smaller. It's a much smaller group of people. They've lost a lot of people. Russia's lost a lot of people, but Russia has a much bigger pool of people.
Now, these remarks have sent shockwaves through Kyiv. As per CNN, Ukrainian officials are pushing back hard against the American narrative of optimism. They say it's simply not true and that only a few issues remain. The Ukrainians are saying that there are three deeply contentious points that could break the entire negotiation. The first, reportedly, is the possible surrender of key Ukrainian territory in the larger Donbas region, including fortified towns that are crucial for Ukraine's defense. The second being, reportedly, the US proposal to limit Ukraine's military to 600,000 troops, a cap that Ukraine strongly opposes. And the third, the most politically sensitive and explosive idea, that Ukraine would renounce its ambition to join the NATO. Now, as per the CNN report, this remains completely unacceptable and would set a dangerous precedent for Russia to dictate the alliances of other nations. These three demands align exactly with Moscow's long-standing objectives, and all three directly clash with Ukraine's core red lines. In the last 3 years of the war, Ukraine has lost tens of thousands of soldiers fighting for the territories at stake. Surrendering them officially could fracture the Ukrainian government and destabilize the country. So even as the US officials try to project confidence, it's clear that some heavy-duty issues still remain. Ukrainian leadership is warning that the path ahead is far from smooth. But till then, Russia seems to be determined to use just about every missile, every drone, every icy winter night to make Ukraine's desperation even worse. What comes out of the backroom talks in Moscow next week is anyone's guess at this point. A lot of questions. They may decide whether this war ends with compromise or with consequences that may reshape Europe for decades to come. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.